Hello, everybody. My name's Gary Fowler, and it's great to be here again. I am the CEO, co-founder, and president of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Silicon Valley. And today, it is GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And I am so gracious today to have and grateful to present Osayi Igharo, the managing partner at Ripple VC. He's an investor in Dollaride, Fleeting, and Nano VMs. Startup director of One Valley, supporting the success of more than 100 companies like Private Core, Nascent Objects. Both were acquired by Facebook. Partner in Stellenbosch University Launch Lab, Africa's leading deep tech incubator. And with that, I'd like to introduce Osayi. Hey, Osayi, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
Good to see you again. It's been a little while.
It's been a while. So tell me what the journey's like from Kansas State to San Francisco to Nigeria. I mean, this is like, you got like the mixed bag. I got to tell you, it's incredible. So how did you get from American University of Nigeria to Kansas State? It's like on my top 10 picks, I wouldn't say, now that's the place I want to be.
Yeah, it's funny you should start there because there's an interesting story there. So I was getting my undergrad degree from the American University of Nigeria, and while I was there, one of the professors from Kansas State was visiting, and he taught a couple of courses, and we got talking one day about what I wanted to do next. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew I wanted to do something around technology and innovation for my master's degree. And I've been looking at a few universities out in Sweden. Don't ask me to pronounce the names. Yeah.
So you go from Sweden to Kansas, right?
Yeah.
You watched the Vines and said, this must be a really good place, right?
So he asked me about what I wanted to do, and I described the program, and he's like, oh, I think we have something like that at Kansas State. And I go, where? Kansas. Well, I mean, so I looked it up, and the program description was exactly what I was looking for. I go, oh, okay, I got to go check this place out then, because the program is exactly what I'm looking for. So graduate, hop on a plane, and then head out. Kansas. While I'm there, do my MBA 2 years. Brilliant, great time. Beautiful program. Not a lot of people. Not enough people talk about it. Great MBA program, technology entrepreneurship. And after that, I left for the Bay Area because I wanted to, work in tech. And so hopped on a plane, came out to San Francisco, and started talking to people. And then joined what was at the time Nest GSV, eventually became GSV Labs, and then One Valley.
Rick Rasmussen, was he there?
Yes.
I know Rick. He's a good guy, by the way.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, very cool. Small world. Yeah.
Actually, I was there. So when I had a group, so for a summertime, I took some time off and took a group of my MBA students from Russia to Nest, and we actually rented some desks there, and it was that was a beautiful building. By the way, I remember when it was Excite, because Pyong Chen of Broadiant had his office right next door, and I remember they had a slide inside, a red slide that we had to have fun. It was really funny. That's amazing. What a small world.
The slide was extremely popular with our visitors and guests. Yeah, and we had events every week, and a lot of people went down that slide.
You had really cool events, I got to tell you. And part of Silicon Valley is about networking, right? Developing those connections and contacts.
Yeah, it's all we do every day. Just go out from one event to the other and meet people. That's the lifestyle.
So what do you do now? So where are you today? Are you in San Francisco, or where are you physically?
No, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria.
You're so back in Lagos. Okay. because I looked at your LinkedIn profile and it said San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I've been here for a little while now.
what's going on in Lagos? My partner was down there 2 weeks ago, and he said it's an incredible, vibrant community. I mean, what's happening?
It's everything is happening. It's a wild place, in all the good, positive ways. There's just so much activity going on. It's a state with 20 million people, in a country of about 200 million, so densely populated. It's think of the U.S., think of the Bay Area, think of New York, and think of LA in one place. That's Lagos. It's it's everything, and there's just so much activity happening here, and it's really exciting. We're seeing a lot of fintech companies come out of Nigeria in general, primarily out of Lagos, driving that funding and the deal activity to new highs every year. There's been a lot of growth in the number of deals that have been done on the continent every single year since 2015. I've been observing the ecosystem since 2015. And last year, because of the pandemic, the volume, the total amount of funding went down a bit, but the number of deals went up, which is kind of
wow. That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of activity. A lot is going on here.
So, I'm just curious. So, what do you do for fun in Lagos? What's there to do for fun? It's just, I'm curious because, I lived in Russia for a while, and, I would fly to Siberia. I would go out in the nature. I mean, what do you do? So what's part of the life of being an entrepreneur or an investor in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, well, it's, I think, pretty much the same as other areas. It's just networking and meeting people. If you're in the business, if you're in this world, you always want to know what's coming next, right? What's around the corner. So it's just a whole lot of talking to people, learning about what people are working on, learning about challenges, and building a picture of a trajectory of trends in your mind. Figuring out how to position yourself to take advantage of it, because this is the land of opportunity. I've come to find.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things.
Yeah, I was going to say, being a coastal state, there's also the beach, and I mean, we have great weather here, as you can tell. So it's it's about 30 degrees out here on average. The sun cooks you properly, so you enjoy your time in the ocean.
Now remember, 30 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Warm.
Yes. 30. That's
great. So when my partner came back from Nigeria, he said he went to some place called Vibranium, and there was a facility there, like incubator kind of place. I had read about AI Saturdays, that you've got this group called AI Saturdays. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in Nigeria. And by the way, unicorns being built.
Yeah, 100%. Vibranium, I think I heard of it one time. I haven't been there. But yes, I know the folks who do AI Saturdays. There are a bunch of, so AI Saturdays is really benefiting from the efforts and activities of other older communities, like Four Loop and Dev Center. And then, of course, there's the Data Science Nigeria, which is one of the 3 largest AI communities across the continent. So there's Data Science Africa in Kenya, and Deep Learning Indaba out of South Africa. So lots of activities, lots of things going on all over the place.
No, it sounds great. So how would you rank? So if you look at the countries in Africa, how would you rank them in terms of the most startups coming out of a particular area? How would you rank the top 5? Which countries are the top? The greatest opportunities for a lot of VCs watch my show. What countries should they look at? I know you're going to say Nigeria for sure.
Yeah.
But other countries.
Yeah, I definitely have to say Nigeria at the top of the list. You know what's funny? 2020, Kenya made a huge jump in terms of the volume, size of funding raised. And right now they're looking on par to Nigeria. So I would say Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt has been on a rise for a while now, doing really well, and South Africa. And fifth one, I'd say Ghana. Ghana is really tearing away from the rest of the pack and looking to make it a top 5.
Really? That's incredible. Most people don't realize there are over a billion people in the African continent. Actually, close to 1.3, over 1.3 billion. I mean, it's huge. Huge market.
It's a large piece of land. And a lot of people.
Large. Yeah. You thought Kansas had a lot of space, right? I remember, I think I told you, I remember driving my Porsche in Kansas, and I was driving, I'll never forget, I was driving, there were wheat fields, there were cornfields, and there was a farmhouse. Really? Yeah. It looked exactly like the Superman movies. I looked at it, and the people were so nice. It looked like Smallville. I remember going out to lunch. I told you about this. Lunch with this guy from Boeing, and he said to me, "I want to take you out for lunch." I said, "Great." And he takes me to this barbecue place, and they bring me a plate, like a full rack, but it was like a rack I've never seen in my life, with French fries, with this, and these guys ate it themselves. Everybody had their own plate, and I've never seen people eat that much in my life. And so nice. Do you mind? I hope you like it. We can get more if you want. I'm like, oh my God.
Where am I going to put it? I enjoy barbecue, and there's some fantastic barbecue in Kansas. So, if you're ever stuck middle of the country, it's not a bad place to be.
It's not a bad place. People are nice. The cost of housing's not bad.
Yeah,
it's an amazing place. Actually, it's an amazing place if you're Superman, I guess. There's a lot of really nice people in Kansas. Yeah. Anyhow, that's very true. What about the VCs in Africa? How open? Because I know a lot of places we go, the VCs don't really understand what funding levels. They're not really, there aren't as many smart, if you will, VCs in terms of really being able to help. What do you see in terms of landscape, and how's it going to change over the next 5 years?
I think I'm friends with a lot of VCs here on the continent. So, there's a lot of good work being done.
Don't be sweating or anything when you're saying this. I've been there.
There's a lot of good work being done. We're all, putting in the work and the time to strengthen the ecosystem as best as we can, bringing our experiences, our varied experiences to the table. I think for sure it's improved over the past 6 years that I've been watching the space, because when I first got out here, I used to hear founders say things about, this investor is asking, like an angel investor was asking for 40%. I go, what? How does that even work mathematically? That's just ignorant. It's just, they just don't know any better, or didn't know any better. But I don't hear those types of conversations much these days. So I think the learning has improved. Majority of the investors have gotten better at understanding the importance of leaving some meat on the bone for downstream investors to be coming to take a bite. And they're understanding the value of being a value-added investor, and not, thinking investing is writing a check and going away, but writing a check and asking, how can I help? So it's improved a whole lot, and I think that's reflected by the number of deals that are being done, the sizes and increase in sizes, although the larger $50 million deals took a hit last year because pandemic, little thing called the pandemic. But it's improving across the board. I think we're all pretty happy with the direction things are going.
Well, you say it so nicely. Your friends are listed. You're amazing. You can tell you got your MBA, Those are the steps. I know in Russia, when we got started with the ecosystem there, when we started the Startup Academy and then GVA, the same kind of situation. We actually started Venture Academy to really educate investors because they'd never done it before, and startups had not gone to global markets. So, on one side, it's, you look back and it's, hindsight's always 20/20, but everybody's got to learn. And, it's kind of interesting because there aren't a whole lot of books out there that really say what it's really like to be an entrepreneur, what it's really like to be an investor. Unless you do it, you don't understand it. So, it's really, sitting in that driver's seat and really moving forward. But I remember when I did my first company, nobody was there to say anything. Literally, my father said, "Gary, why are you doing this?" I wouldn't do that. You went to graduate school. You should be a professor. I said, "But Dad, that's not what I want to do. I want to do something else." And
Dad needs to I'm not sure.
And he's like, and I remember I went. So I didn't know how to raise money. I thought raising money to go to get a loan, go to the bank and get a loan. So I went to the bank and got a loan. So I got a loan. It paid off. I was doing a project, construction tech project, paid off. I paid the bank. Then I got another couple loans. And I thought that's how you raise money. The banker said, I'll never forget this. Said to me, he said, now we were wondering if we could get some equity. And I said, why would you take the equity? I'm taking the risk. Because I'm signing the loan. I said, this doesn't make any sense. Why would he want a piece of my pie?
Right.
It took me a while to understand that concept. Why am I doing all the work and they're trying to take my pie?
It should be mentioned that some of the older angel networks across the continent really carry the continent on their backs in terms of educating people. And I think one of the oldest ones is the Lagos Angel Network, and it's also one of the more prominent ones. And the founder, Tommy, a friend of mine, he's done put in tremendous effort in educating angel investors, working with other angels across the continent and helping them to form communities and start their own angel networks, just to help get their beaks wet, their toes wet as well, and build from there. So it's really helped put many other countries on the map, to raise capital, because for the longest time it was really Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, but we're seeing companies popping out of everywhere, raising capital, and it's really because of this early effort.
I mean, what you're doing is fantastic, and I wrote a paper, about the democratization opportunities, and, we talk about intellectual capacities evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. And to be able to make a dent in the universe, create jobs, people take care of their family, it's going to make the world a lot better place. And so, I got to tell you, I applaud you. I see the kind of effort. My partner was down there. Unfortunately, I had not had my COVID shot yet, so I didn't want to travel. He did, but it's just, it's incredible what you're doing and the kind of talent that's there. I mean, we're getting calls from groups from Egypt. We have a portfolio company from South Africa, Rwanda. We heard recently from Rwanda, Kenya, was it Uganda? I mean, just different places. They're coming out of the woodwork and are very positive because they want to have their voice heard. And one of the things with this digital transformation has been really difficult. If you're a company that's located in wherever, right? Could be Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, but and I don't want to hear from Punxsutawney.
They're coming for you.
Why did you say that? We have Phil, but wherever you are, it's really the democratization of the opportunity. And, the kind of challenges we have, population increase, will go from the population of the world will go from a little over 8 billion to 13 billion by the end of the century. We got a lot of challenges. So all of us have to take part in it, and all of us have to make a dent in the universe. We need to go down through and build the circular economy. And it's back to basics. In some ways, it's back to basics. Like originally, when I went to Russia, it was some basic kind of approach to building businesses, and then moved on to technology. But it's incredible, and I'm excited about it. I got to tell you, the fintech companies that we've seen from Nigeria, just first class, and they really, really sharp entrepreneurs, really sharp entrepreneurs. So
100%.
I applaud you. What do you see? So I got a question for you. You were in Toronto for a while? You were working with Rogers for a while, and when did you go back over to Nigeria? Like, say, I'm fully committed. I'm back in Lagos. How long was that?
There was a bit of moving around between Toronto and final 100% Africa. Toronto, that's why I got my first job, doing door-to-door, selling telecoms services. Back in the day when triple play was a thing. So the home phone, the internet, and cable.
That's amazing. Well, that teaches you how to sell, right? I mean, that was a long time ago, back in 2000. So right after the .com bubble. My God, that had to be interesting.
Yeah. And I remember reading about this company called Google buying some other company called YouTube for, what was it, 1.65 billion, and thinking, what is that about? Who does that?
Me, right? That's
So did that, and then and then left the company and joined Monarchs Group, where we sold back in the day before fintech was a thing, where fintech was point of sale terminals and ATMs. So did that for a little while before coming out to Nigeria, and then leaving again and coming back. But focused on Africa, took a very keen interest in the African startup ecosystem in 2015 and came out here. Been going back and forth to the Bay, but decided to focus on Africa for the future in 2017.
Do you see the big VCs? Do you see some of the brand names, SoftBank, the NEAs of the world, and Andreessen Horowitz? Do you see those companies starting to focus on? Because I hear about it now, but do you see them like on the ground? Are they coming in? Are they looking for those opportunities?
Yeah. They're not they don't happen as often as I'd like. But they're. I mean, it has to start from somewhere, right? The Sequoias and Excels didn't always have a shop in India and China. At some point, they figured it made sense, and I think the larger firms will see that. I think that the trajectory will get to a point where it's really interesting. Because I mean, right now, so last year, what year are we in? In 2019, the continent raised $2 billion.
2020, you mean 2020, right? You forgot 2020. I think like most of us.
You skip 2020.
Last year, 2019, you remember?
So 2019, startups on the continent raised about $2 billion. Before that, it was a little over $1 billion. So rocket ship. But last year, it came down to about 1.4 billion.
Well, that's not bad, though, considering the pandemic.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Fast, if you can't even meet with, for the first few months of the pandemic, people really, I actually spoke to SoftBank, and they said, well, we're kind of holding off right now. People were really petrified. But there were two classes. There were people that were petrified, and the other ones that thought that this is the greatest opportunity out there because the other VCs aren't in it and get the deals where I can get a good deal, right?
And that's accurate because we saw a heavy decline in the larger check sizes, so in the $50 million check sizes. But in the seed region, shot way up. it just rocketed. So yeah, that really shows the two schools of thought, and one can understand it because those at the seed stage are thinking, oh my God, what a great opportunity, buy low, right? Being an investor and all. So yeah, that type of activity helps. So going back to talking about the larger firms and their presence here, it'll happen. I brought up the total funding amounts because for some of those firms, that's the fund size, billion, 2 billion. So it'll take a bit for them to start to look at, African companies. I think when we get to the point where we're raising several $100 million, they'll kind of have to take a look at that point.
Well, they don't want to miss out.
So no, they don't. They don't.
And the thing is, moving quickly, with guys like you down there that are really pushing forward, it's incredible. So what do you think? Fintechs, obviously, I hear about, especially in Nigeria, fintech. But what other kind of areas are interesting? Where do you see really strong capabilities? What verticals? AI, quantum. What kind of skill sets? What's interesting from your perspective?
So what's interesting to me versus interesting to that the data shows is interesting to the ecosystem at large. What's interesting in the ecosystem at large is really 6 verticals. So fintech, of course, is still steady number 1. Agri-tech shot out of nowhere from 2019 to second place last year. So really heavy digitalization of that sector, which is amazing. Because food, right? That's important. And enterprise is also seeing a lot of strong deal flow of great tech. So in energy, taking advantage of the 7 suns we have on this continent, health tech, and commerce. Some of the larger, more active sectors. What's interesting to me, of course, is the more deep tech side of things and the more science-based side of things. So, aerospace and biotech and industrial automation, which I'm still waiting patiently for that to kick off. But I expect it.
All right, startups out there, I know you're listening. Osayis interested. If you got the stuff, bring it out. He's interested. Now you're right about it because. The other thing is, we talk about AI, Osayi, and, the multiple vertical applications, the challenges we have with all the data around us, as I said, it's just incredible. And the companies that can really master that and understand how to not only grab the data, but able to have those unsupervised, semi-supervised systems really help us understand what to do with it, right? And of course, I write about compassion. I write about emotion. We better do that too and add it in because nothing good's going to happen.
Yeah.
I saw this thing. I don't know if you saw it. This guy was kicking a robotic dog. Did you see that recently? The guy actually kicked a dog, and this dog, they were trying to show that it could stand on its feet. I actually, for the first time, felt really bad because I thought, when that dog's smart enough, it's going to rip the guy's leg off.
It's going to remember.
It's going to remember. And I'm like, you don't want to be doing this kind of stuff. How would you like, So we need to understand those kind of technologies. What about robotics? Do you see much with robotics? You said agri-tech, and of course there can be lots of opportunities for agri-tech and robotics. But do you see that, or what is it in agri-tech that's particularly?
Yeah, agri-tech is, it's really just not a whole lot of robotics. Which because hardware tech is really it's expensive, right? And there aren't a lot of large funds that can write really large checks. So hopefully that will change, especially as some of these entrepreneurs exit, have these really significant exits. Hopefully funnel some of that money back into the ecosystem, perhaps through an angel and through angel investing or through a fund. That way, start to accelerate funding to hardware companies. Robotics, I think, where I'm really excited to see robotics is in the industrial automation. Because the continents you mentioned, the 1.3 billion people, by average age, is the youngest continent on the planet.
No, that's what I understand. It's incredible, actually.
Yeah. And it's also got, like I mentioned, a whole lot of land. So I think it'll get it to a point where manufacturers will start to take a really hard look at Africa. Combine that with relatively low labor costs, and it could be really interesting for manufacturers. And I think there's an opportunity to automate, to leapfrog traditional manufacturing, and really get to a point where manufacturing is done with a whole lot of robots, and intelligent robots, I should add. So that's the future I'm really excited about, and really looking to back companies that are thinking about that as well, and building solutions for that future.
So remember, another one, Osayi's into industrial automation. So if you got an interesting company, he's the one to talk to. All right, super. Well, listen, we're coming up to the top of the hour. I just wanted to get your closing thoughts in terms of the future, accessibility. What's going to happen over the next year, the next 5 years, and how can these startups get a hold of you? How can the investors get a hold of you and close us out?
Yeah. What's going to happen over the next year to 5 years? I think we're going to continue to see a great trajectory on all fronts in terms of number of deals, the volume of deals, the size of funding. I think more countries are going to continue to play a role, especially over the 5-year period. We're going to see even more countries. I think in 5 years, it'll probably be the top 7 countries. I think a few join the top 4, the big 4. Ghana leading the way. I expect Uganda, Rwanda, lots of activities in those countries to join the fray. Morocco as well. Beautiful country, by the way. So I see a lot of hope for the continent and a lot of progress. How anyone can reach me, probably the best way is Twitter. It's at Osayi Igharo. LinkedIn is works as well, but Twitter is best, and we can take it from there.
Nah, that's great. So I want to say thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today. We're excited about the opportunities in Africa. Incredible people down there, the beauty, the incredible opportunities that exist. And, at GSD, we're really focused on making a difference and make a dent in the universe, and working with people like you. We can do it together. To my audience, thank you for tuning in today. This is incredible. Invest in Africa. Look at African startups. They're incredible opportunities. Go out there and get them before it's too late. So thank you very much. Stay tuned. I'll be back again Tuesday for another edition of my show. I almost said Gary's Picks, my other show. GSD presents Silicon Valley Tech. We got a couple of shows.
It's been a lot of fun, Gary.
Thank you so
much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Stay tuned, stay healthy, stay happy, and go get them. Thank you very much.